A very good morning to one and all. It's my honor itself to honor this beautiful audience and our prestigious speakers. I, Ruby Gill, with great joy and immense exultation, extend my warm welcome on the behalf of lovely professional university for today's webinar on the topic Join the Bandwagon, Develop New Drugs and Therapies, Study Pharmaceutical Sciences at LPU. But before we commence, I would like to introduce our speakers of the day. Consider it a great honor to welcome the epitome of wisdom and intellect, Dr. Monica Gulati, Executive Dean, School of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Registrar, Lovely Professional University. She has been very instrumental in research when it comes to education. Having completed her B Pharmacy, M Pharmacy and PhD from UIPS, Punjab University, Chandigarh, Dr. Gulati have more than 25 years of teaching, industry, research and administrative experience. Her research forte is enhancing bioperformance of drug molecules, phytochemicals and probiotics, metabiotics and other therapeutics using conventional and novel dosage forms, especially in the area of colon targeting. She holds a keen interest in the quality parameter of delivery systems. She has to her credit more than 150 high-impact publications and 50 invited book chapters with an H index of 28 and RG score of 39.43. She has been granted 4 Indian patents and 3 Australian patents. She is also on the editorial and review board of more than 25 journals. I'm falling short of words for you, ma'am. It's a privilege to have you on board with us. Thank you for joining. Likewise, I would like to welcome our admission expert, Dr. Tushinder Preet Kaur, Professor, Mittal School of Business and Coordinator of Cell, Division of Admissions, Lovely Professional University. She'll deliver the information about eligibility, scholarship, fee structure, and infrastructure of the university. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining. So with this, we'll begin the webinar. So over to you, Dr. Monica Gulati, for content of the day.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Give me a moment. There is some issue with the PPT. Give me a moment. Yeah. So, dear friends, as shared by Ruby ma'am, we are here today to talk about, the science which leads you to reach a career, to adopt a career where you are going to innovate in the health sector, wherein you will be able to prepare the new drugs, change the existing drugs to increase the efficiency of the already existing therapies, and latest, as all of us have seen during the COVID times, to prepare the vaccines, to prepare the drugs which are urgently needed and immediately needed. So since we are a science, the pharmaceutical science, which is basically related to all the aspects of drugs, whether it is the synthesis of drugs, whether it is the administration of the drug, the effects of the drug, the side effects of the drugs, marketing of the drugs, everything related to the drugs. The science, since it deals with the health of the people, it is the lives of the people which are actually involved. So we always say that it is a highly regulated profession, regulated by the specific governments, the individual governments of the countries. So if there is, if we are talking about US, they have their own council. If we talk about Japan, they have their own council. Similarly, for India, we have the Pharmacy Council of India. So what I mean to say here, by when I say it is, as you can see, very explicitly written here that it is recognized by Pharmacy Council of India, and you can see a stamp also from Pharmacy Council. So what I suggest to you and what I advise to you is that anybody who wants to join the career for entering the pharmaceutical sciences must, before taking admission, ensure that the institute in which he or she is taking admission is recognized by the council. Otherwise, what happens if the council recognition is not there? After completion of your graduation or post graduation, or as the case may be, the degree will not be recognized by any institute in India. So the person will not be able to open any chemist shop, will not be able to enter into teaching, will not be able to enter into industry, because the approval from the council is mandatory, as it is the regulation by the government of the country. So when we talk of the courses which are offered, when we talk of the bachelor courses, we have the bachelor in pharmacy, which is a 4 years course, as you can see. And then we have the bachelor of pharmacy lateral entry. Now, lateral entry, what we mean by this is that the student has already completed the diploma in pharmacy, right? The 2 years diploma in pharmacy after the completion of class 12th. So the diploma in pharmacy has been completed by the student, and he or she already has the basic knowledge about pharmacy. So what is allowed by the Pharmacy Council of India or PCI is that you can skip 1 year and the student gets a direct entry into the second year. So the entire tenure for B Pharm becomes 3 years rather than 4 years for the children who join after the plus 2. So these are the two courses which are being offered. And apart from that, we have the Masters of Pharmacy. In Masters of Pharmacy, as you can see, we have 5 specializations available with us. Pharmaceutics, which basically deals with the delivery system. What are the formulations which can be prepared? I'll share with you what a formulation means. We have heard of crocin. It contains paracetamol. So paracetamol is a powder, you see. It cannot be administered as such in the form of a powder. It will be bitter, it will be very small in quantity, there could be errors and so on. So the pharmaceutics is the branch which will convert it into the tablet or capsule. So you have the, tablets of paracetamol available, capsules of paracetamol available, injections of paracetamol available. So all the dosage forms in which the drug is administered to the patients, that is handled by the pharmaceutic specialization. Then we have pharmaceutical analysis. Pharmaceutical analysis is, you will find out whether the drug which is claimed on the strip of the pack, is it actually existing there? Is it so that some of the toxic materials are there? Is it so that when the synthesis started, the the starting material has been left in the drug, or has the drug degraded by any chance? And if it has actually degraded, then the materials which are formed by degradation, are they toxic or not? So all this will fall under the pharmaceutical analysis. And then we have pharmaceutical chemistry, which basically handles the synthesis of the drugs. So synthesis of the drugs as well as the synthesis of the other ingredients like colors, like flavors, like sweeteners, which are going to be used in the preparation of various dosage forms. Then the next is pharmacology. Now, pharmacology, I've seen many people find it very interesting because it basically studies the effect of the drugs on the human body. How is a drug going to affect, what kind of uh, therapeutic effects are going to be there? Does it increase or decrease the body temperature? Does it increase or decrease the heart rate and so on? And the last specialization which has recently been started, last 2 years only we started it, on huge public demand was the pharmacy practice. Now this is the specialization which is closest to the medical profession. It has that glamour, which is very commonly attached to the medical profession because you are directly dealing with the patients in this. So in pharmacy practice, what you learn is that you become a bridge between the doctor and the patients. The entire advisory is handled by the pharmacy practice postgraduates because the doctors don't have that much time, they don't have that much knowledge about the drugs and so on. So pharmacy practice is the specialization which will take you closest to the patients. Then talking of bachelors of pharmacy, we come back to the starting course. So it is the starting course, as you can see immediately after plus two. Plus two can be with the bio specialization also or with maths also. So we take PCB and PCM both. So B pharmacy is basically, you can start after 12th and it is a 4 years course. So in this you will be taught about the various plant drugs, the various drugs which are synthetic, so both natural as well as synthetic drugs, starting from how they are prepared, the drugs themselves, how they are dispensed again means converting them into the various dosage forms, how they are packaged also in the industry, after their packaging, how are they sold, what are the selling techniques, what are the final nuances of sales and marketing. So that will come under the uh, pharmacy management or pharmaceutical management. The various laws which are related to the drugs, we have a full-fledged drugs and cosmetics act. Apart from that, they are also you will also be taught about the various acts like uh, termination of pregnancy acts, any acts which are related to the medical and pharmaceutical profession. The most important, of course, would be the Drugs and Cosmetics Act. So then manufacturing, all aspects of the, manufacturing of the various dosage forms will be there. Then very important, the effects of the drugs on the small animals. Before taking any drug to human beings, it is first tested on animals. So that we call as preclinical testing. So preclinical testing becomes a very, very important part of the pharma profession. And then finally we talk about the clinical trials. After the clinical trials, we talk about the pharmacovigilance, wherein the reports of side effects from the various various parties like the patients, like the doctors, the prescribers, the chemists, the stockists, so all the stakeholders, their feedback is taken, and then we find out if there is any kind of side effect or toxic effect which has been left, which has not been reported in the smaller clinical trials. So this entire thing is taught under the Bachelor of Pharmacy. And recently, of course, the drugs or the medicines were always an integral part of the profession of health, because a doctor cannot do anything unless and until he has an injection or a tablet or a capsule to give. But somewhere till last 2 years, till 2 years back, the pharmacists or the pharmacy professionals were always in the background. They never came in the forefront. But when this pandemic happened, when COVID happened, there was a sudden huge demand of certain drugs, like initially it was HCQ, hydroxychloroquine, and then there was a huge demand of vaccines. And then, the Honorable Prime Minister himself said in his statement that the entire world is very proud of the pharmacy professionals of India, because in a record time they have been able to synthesize and prepare and manufacture the drugs which were required and which were exported throughout the world. It was exported to 23 countries, HCQ, and then within a record time, the vaccine was prepared, the clinical trials were done, the safety was ensured, and the vaccine was rolled out for not only for Indian people but also for the international exports also. Then we talk about the various career prospects of which are available for the pharmacy graduates. So first would be the community pharmacy. As I was sharing, a community pharmacist is a person who is going to have a wholesale or a retail chemist shop, and he or she is available to the entire. Why do we call it community pharmacist? Because he or she is somewhere catering to the needs of the community for counseling in the sense that the doctor gives you a slip, you have to take these two medicines in the morning, evening, and this syrup is to be taken in the afternoon. So the entire counseling is done by the pharmacist, how you are to take it, what is to be avoided, what is the food to be taken, do you need to take it empty stomach or full stomach, and so on. So the community pharmacists are doing a great job for the society, and this is one of the most popular kind of careers wherein the community pharmacist is playing an advisory role. Then comes hospital pharmacist. Now, dear friends, it is very common to confuse between community pharmacist and hospital pharmacist, but it is not so. A hospital pharmacist is always placed inside a hospital, as the name suggests. Now, that pharmacist is going to cater to only those patients who are visiting that hospital. When a community pharmacist is there, any patient can walk in and take advice. When it is a hospital pharmacist, that particular pharmacist is trained to handle those typical kind of patients. So if we are working in a cardiac hospital, so the entire counseling of the patients, what is to be taken as a food, you should not walk, when you should get up, how many steps you should take before you become before you start your speed, what are the exercises to be done. So that part is handled by that hospital pharmacist. So the difference is that the hospital pharmacist caters to the patients of that particular hospital where he or she is employed. Then comes the role of drug inspector. Now, drug inspector is this is one of the most glamorous kind of career options available to the pharmacist. A drug inspector is one thing, he or she is empowered by the government of India and then by the state government of that particular state where he or she is working to enter into any industry, any chemist shop unannounced, because their role is that of the regulation. So what they will do is they are somewhere responsible for the fair practices. Fair practices means in a chemist shop, they can find out whether the drugs are being kept in a proper order. If something is to be kept under refrigeration, is it kept under refrigeration or not, and so on. Are there any kind of uh, narcotic drugs being sold? Is there any kind of abuse material which is being sold? Is there any kind of drug which is already expired and still being sold? Or are there any spurious drugs which are being sold by the chemist shop? So this is their role as far as the wholesale and retail chemist shops are concerned, but they have a larger role to play in pharma industry also. So as I shared with you, they can enter into any pharma industry and they can find out whether the practices being followed, are they fair, are they healthy, is the cleanliness being maintained, is there any kind of spurious practice going on. So they are the people who are empowered by the state government and then the national government to ensure that there is no malpractice as far as the drugs and medicines are concerned. Then these further, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all these 4 to 10. These options, career prospects or career options, are related very, very closely to the pharma industry. So the quality control associate is the one who will be coming in direct touch with the drug inspector, because somewhere, the quality control associate is responsible for the maintenance of the quality of the drugs which are being manufactured in a company. So he or she will see whether all the quality parameters, the size, the content, the toxic material, any non-related material, everything, whether the drug is getting released in the desired time or not. Is the drug which has been claimed, say claims that there is 200 mg of drug X in the tablets, is it there or is it only 150, or is it somewhere, has it not crossed 200? It should not be more than 250 also. So if it is 250, it is quality control test fails. If it is 150, again the quality control test fails. So the quality control associate is somewhere responsible about the quality of the medicines which are being produced by the company. Then we have clinical research associate. Now this fellow, the clinical research associate, will see what is the research which is already going on, what kind of, say, tablets are there and granules are there, but capsules are not there. This clinical research associate will find out what kind of dosage form is required. So if the drug is, say, meant for lungs and the tablet only is available, he or she may decide to design an inhaler so that, the side effects are reduced. So the entire research about the drug which is being currently formulated is being done by the clinical research associate. Then formulation development associate, I shared with you, these are the people, who convert the pure drug into various dosage forms. So you have very brightly colored, beautiful, very sweet smelling kind of syrups which are available, which even the children like to drink. So that magic is created by the formulation development associate. The drug remains the same, which could be bitter also, which could be foul smelling also, but look, they have converted it into such beautiful kind of syrups and tablets and so on, that it is an art in itself. Then we have medical representatives. I think all of you might have seen, the people entering into the cabins of the doctors with their briefcases. So these are the people who are medical representatives. Now, these people are somewhere, responsible for disseminating the knowledge about the product of a particular company to all the doctors. The education is being provided about that particular medicine to the doctors who are in that area by the medical representatives. So it is generally felt that, they are just there to promote their own products, which is a wrong notion. Their role is not just their own promotion, their role is also to educate the doctors about the new dosage forms which are coming. Generally we all know that the profession of doctors is a very, very busy kind of profession. So they do not have time to update their knowledge generally. So the medical representatives will carry all the literature to them, tell them that these are the side effects of this particular drug, or this was not giving the entire effect which was desirable. So you can switch to this drug and so on. Then we have the sales and marketing representatives. So you see there is a difference between this. So the people who strategize what should be the literature which is to be given to the doctors, what are the drug samples which should be given to the doctors, at what time means if it is, the summers are coming at this time when we are expecting, somewhere monsoon will come in a month or so, and we are expecting some mosquitoes to be there, and we are expecting malaria to be there. So the marketing representatives and sales representatives are going to decide when is the right time to launch that particular drug. What is the material which should be given in the brochures which are to be distributed to the doctors and so on. So these are the people who strategize the sales, the launch of various drugs, and the material which is to be shared with the doctors to educate them. And then that material is prepared by the person who comes at number 10. So who will prepare all the brochures, who will prepare all the, the written material or the printed material which accompanies most of the ear drops, eye drops that you open. There is a small paper which is folded so many times and there is small content written there. So that content and the content which goes to the doctors, the content which goes on the strips of the medicines or the labels of the medicines, that is all prepared by the scientific writers. Then we come to the various options which are available after, masters in pharmaceutical chemistry. This I already shared with you that it is basically an amalgamation of basic chemistry wherein you learn about the synthesis of, esters and acids and amines and so on. So when it becomes particularly focused on the drugs, it becomes the pharmaceutical chemistry. The chemistry converts to pharmaceutical chemistry when it talks only about the drugs and the excipients which are going to be used in the medicines. So the career prospects in this case, since we expect that the people who have done their masters in pharmaceutical chemistry will be extremely good at the synthesis part. So the career options which are available to them is, the number one is synthetic chemist, who is going to develop the new drugs. If you look at the topic of this seminar is developing the new drugs. So anybody who develops a new drug would be called a synthetic chemist. He will start from small molecules and lead to the preparation of drug, which could be very effective as probably in lowering of the BP or in treating the diabetes and so on. Then another option which is available to people who've done their masters in pharmacochemistry is that of analytical chemist. Now, analytical chemist, as I shared with you, is somebody who finds out whether the drugs which are being used or even the supporting material which is being used in the preparation of the medicines, is it up to the quality? So the quality analysis is done by the analytical chemist, and he or she should have a flair for the instruments. We have so many instruments by which we check the quality. It is not a single instrument. There is a long list of instruments. If I say there could be something around 20 plus instruments which are used for the analysis of the drugs and the side effects, and then drugs and the materials which are used for the preparation, as well as the final dosage form. So analytical chemistry is going to have a proficiency in handling all of these instruments. Then process scientist, the process scientist is going to make sure that the process is working at its optimized value. There is minimum spending of energy, there is minimum spending of time, and the maximum output is there. Then research scientist, of course, somebody who enters into research for the preparation of new drugs. And in bulk drug units means where the raw material is being prepared. It could be aspirin as such, the 10 kgs, 20 kgs, 1 quintal of aspirin is not in the form of tablets or capsules, pure aspirin as a drug. So they have a huge potential in the bulk drug units, and then of course, they can join their PhDs and PDFs after the masters. Now, as far as the government jobs are concerned, I already shared with you drug inspector. So drug inspectors can be bachelors also as well as masters also. So the position of drug inspector is open to all the bachelor and all specializations of masters. And apart from that, they can become scientific officer in the sense that, in the government there are many labs which are maintained by the state government or at times even by the national government. So there they need people who will be able to analyze the drugs which are there in the market or which are still in their clinical trials. So the pharmaceutical chemist can become a scientific officer also for such government organizations. Then we have, as I shared with you, the Masters of Pharmacy in Pharmaceutical Analysis. Again, I shared with you that they are going to see whether it is the quality of the drug is all right or not. And then, the quality of drug becomes very, very important when we are going to sell the drug. So every country has a regulatory body which will allow the sale or even the storage or import or export of the drugs only if they match the standards which are laid out by that particular regulatory agency. And the standards which are prescribed by the regulatory agencies may vary from country to country. In Japan, it is different. In UK, it is different. In India, it could be different. In Bangladesh, it could be different. So anybody who wants to export the drugs to any other country or import the drugs from any other country, then they need to know what these regulatory agencies expect and what is the mandatory requirement of these regulatory agencies. So in pharmaceutical analysis, apart from measurement of the quality of the drug, they would also learn the various requirements of the regulatory agencies, right? So what they are then taught the regulatory affairs also, and then they are also taught the IPR. IPR is basically intellectual property right, which mainly in this case includes patents. So they need to have a thorough knowledge about the patents also. The career prospects more or less remain the same. The major difference is they can act as, like in case of pharmaceutical chemistry, we came to know that they can act as synthetic chemists. So in this case, they can act as analytical chemists. Another area which is very lucrative now is that of quality assurance. Now, quality assurance and quality control, they are different things. As you can see, quality control is when we see the finished products, we see the finished medicines and we find out whatever has been claimed, is it there or not. But the quality assurance is another area in which we find out what are the processes to be followed to ensure that quality control is there. That means if the weighing machine is working properly, only then you can get the uniform kind of availability of drug in all the tablets. If there is an error in the weighing machine, of course, this could never be uniform. So when the process like weighing, right, is taken care of, that comes under quality assurance. But when we measure the amount of the drug which has been added, that comes under quality control. So these are the options which are available to the people who specialize in pharmaceutical analysis. These are the projects that have recently been completed by the pharmaceutical chemistry people, and these mainly cater to rheumatoid arthritis as well as cancer, antimicrobials, and diabetes. So these are the main areas where the pharmaceutical chemistry people at LPU are focusing. Then we come to M-Pharm in pharmaceutics. As I shared with you earlier also, they are the people who convert the raw drug into the palatable dosage forms. So there, if we talk of the career options which are available to them, is of course research and development and production. So production of formulations is always only with the pharmaceutics people, because they are the only specialization which are trained to manufacture the various dosage forms. Then GMP is the good manufacturing practices. So GMP is a complete area wherein we look after, it is somewhat like quality assurance, wherein we look after whether the practices which are being followed while manufacturing are up to the mark or not. So good manufacturing practices, it says whether they are being followed or not, that has to be done, checked by the person who is masters in pharmaceutics. And then of course, there is always the possibility of educational and academic research, and then formulation development. Apart from that, some very lucrative kind of sectors are the research organization, knowledge processing organizations. KPO is knowledge processing organization, and in this what happens, we take the data from the market, we pick up the data from the market, and what we do is we find out what is the need of the hour. Say if there are 5 drugs, but all of them cause acidity in the patient, right? So we will look for a drug which does not cause acidity. So these are, knowledge processing organizations will pick up the data from the market, organize that data, and give it to a company in whatever form it is required. And then we come to the government jobs, they are the same as that for the bachelors or that for pharmaceutical chemistry and so on. So in case of pharmaceutics, a major highlight of our department at LPU is the expertise in DOE. So DOE is the design of experiments. So we generally what is done is it is not done by hit and trial method. There is a proper software into which we put the desirable characteristics of the formulation which we are developing, and uh, the percentage of various ingredients which we are going to add, and we see just by the software whether what kind of characteristics we are going to get. All right, so if we want early release of the drug, we will put different kind of substances in the tablets. If we want late release of drug, we want it to reach the intestine, then we will put different kinds of material in the preparation of the tablet. So all this is a very strong forte of our department at Lovely Professional University, wherein DOE software experts are available. And then because of this, a large number of industry collaborated research projects are also going on. Then coming to the pharmacology, this is the branch wherein you will be dealing with the small animals. Before, as I shared with you, releasing a drug into the market, it is tested on small animals like rat, mice, and guinea pigs. So all that comes under pharmacology. So basically, the children are taught the various types of effects of the drugs on the body, how much drug will be there, after the which concentration it is going to have side effects, is it going to interact with any other drug, is it going to increase the blood pressure, it is going to decrease the glucose levels, is it going to lead to some antifungal effect or not. So the students are taught about the pharmacological and toxicological screening methods, right? And then of course, the student learns to handle the smaller animals and do the experiments on them before finally putting the drug for the clinical trials. So the career options is the most important one in M.Pharm pharmacology is that the children can enter into preclinical as well as clinical research. So there are a few organizations, there are a few companies, there are a few private labs which do the clinical research only. So they are known as CROs, clinical research organizations. So they can find uh, jobs there. Then we have pharmacovigilance, as I shared with you. After the drug is released in the market, after the clinical trials, the reports are collected from all the stakeholders like doctors, like patients, like the attendants of the patients, and so on. And we try to find out a pattern if there is any kind of side effect. So all that comes under the pharmacovigilance. Then of course, after you complete your masters in pharmacology, you can become a teacher like me. Then vaccination development is a very latest kind of thing which is taught to the M.Pharm pharmacology people. They're also taught about IPRs, that means how to file the patents. And then medical writing, as we talked in the last slide, since pharmacology people are very well aware of the various side effects and various positive effects also, so they are generally given the task to write the pamphlets which are to be shared by the doctors. Then you can go for PhD either in India or abroad, and then uh, ventures could be there based on the entrepreneurship, like you can start your own CRO, clinical or contract research organization, and you can do consultancy and you can do some clinical research itself also. So as I shared with you, children, it is a highly regulated profession. So even if you are going to test something on the animals, you need an approval from the government. So Government of India has created CPC-SCA, which is basically the regulatory agency for all animals test. So all the tests which are to be done on animals, we need to take up approval from CPC-SCA, so that they ensure that there is no cruelty to the animals while they are being used. There is no cruelty, food is given properly, water is given properly, the air is clean. And let me share with you, in our animal house we have more AC is installed than in the adjoining buildings, because we need to ensure that before any experiments are done, or even after the experiments are complete, the animals are made very comfortable. So we have one of the best animal houses in the northern India. Again, in pharmacology also, a number of collaborative research projects are going on, wherein the industry gives us their products and asks us to test it on the small animals. Then we have recently opened the material vigilance and pharmacovigilance centers at the school to provide an exposure to our students. So the entire data is being maintained by the students only under the supervision of the guide who is a pharmacologist. Then coming to pharmacy practice, as I shared with you, this is the career which is the closest to the, which will take you closest to the patients. So it imparts detailed knowledge about the pharmaceutical care services. So as an attendant, at times what happens, there are no attendants with somebody, even if the attendants are there, they are working and they have their job, so they cannot take care of the patient all the time. So in such cases, the M-Pharm pharmacy practice, or PP as we call it, M-Pharm PP, the students enroll in them and carry on the various professional responsibilities. So they will be taught about patient counseling, which is one of the major forte of these people who specialize in pharmacy practice. Then assessment and prevention of drug-drug interaction. As I shared with you, pharmacovigilance, if there are two drugs, they could interact. But other way around, there are many drugs which interact with for certain food items like cheese. So there are certain drugs which interact with the cheese, they interact with the beer, they interact with some other substances, which are some other drugs also. Another very interesting area is that of pharmacoeconomics. For the same disease, if you have three people belonging to the different socioeconomic strata of the society, they will take different drugs. We say that, okay, this tablet costs me 5,000, but this does not lead to side effect. Second person comes, he says, I can give you these many rupees. The drug that I have prepared has minor side effects, right? And the third person says that it has strong side effects, but the price is very low. So for three different socio-economic status people, we have three different therapies. So all that is taught in pharmacokinetics. So the career options, as you can see, the care management is the forte of these people. Then medical and scientific writing, and then most of them are the same. You can see hospital pharmacist, clinical trials, and medical transcription. And in pharmacy practice, the best advantage that we have is that we have an MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, with the Christian Medical College Ludhiana, CMC Ludhiana. So they give us an opportunity to allow our students to interact with the patients and exposure to the how the doctors are treating them. The children will sit there and observe how the doctors treat them, and then they get the data from the people, and that data is then assorted to lead to some meaningful takeaways, right? Then we have an association with International Society for Pharmacoeconomics and Outcome Research. This is a part of pharmacy practice. Then, as I shared with you, pharmacovigilance and material vigilance centers are there. These are also under pharmacy. Then children, we come to another very innovative kind of area, which is Ayurvedic pharmacy. So we have a separate branch of Ayurvedic pharmacy, which has again B Pharm and M Pharm. So we have B Pharmacy in Ayurveda, M Pharmacy in Ayurveda, and PhD in Ayurveda. So children, apart from the usual things that I shared with you in the last 10 slides, the people from B from Ayurveda, they also learn about the various Ayurvedic drugs, their manufacture, their analysis, and then Rasjastra and Dravegun, that is again somewhat similar to pharmaceutics, wherein they will prepare the dosage forms of these particular plant or herbal based drugs. Then they also have to subscribe to the good manufacturing practices if they want to make their presence felt in some other country. So these are the career opportunities available to them. These are children are MOUs and collaborations which have been done in last 1.5 years only. These are the project displays of the students. They have already prepared this. In next summers, I expect more of such projects. These projects are generally taken up by the children during their summer vacations. So we expect many more innovative projects like this during the summer terms. These are the companies which have mainly recruited our children. So you can see almost all the important pharma companies are there. So children, that's all from my side. I will be very happy to answer any questions. If
Thank
there
you
are
so
any
much.
queries, I will be very happy.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such an informative yet engaging session. And yes, ma'am, there are few queries from our attendees. So there's a query from Tanushri Parida. She wants to know that if pharmacy is so much important in India, then what should be the right pay scale for B pharmacy graduate?
See, pay scale is something which will depend upon the efficiency of the person who is working. We cannot say pay scales should be from this range to this range. See, if you are very efficient, maybe we have seen children going for the packages of 60,000, 70,000 or also after immediately after their B Farm. In the final year of B Farm, they have been picked up at the salary package of 60K per month. But yes, there are children who are absorbed at 15K or 10K also. So you see, in the government sector, of course, the salary would be fixed. But again, for government sector also, you have to clear a test to become a drug inspector. So you have to work very hard for that. And as such, the profession, since it is very, very thoroughly related to the health of the society, we expect that, the knowledge will be good. And if the knowledge is good, the pay scales are, the sky is the limit.
Thank you
I
so
hope
much,
that
ma'am.
answers your question.
Indeed, ma'am. Okay, then there's another question from Apurva. The question is, can you please tell us about clinical pharmacy?
Yeah, clinical pharmacy is somewhat similar to pharmacy practice. In fact, in clinical pharmacy, as the name suggests, you will be handling the patients, you will be posted in the hospitals and in clinics, more in the hospitals. Clinical is just the name. So in this case, you are going to come in contact with the doctors as well as the patients. You will be given the responsibility of the various roles in the conduct of clinical trials, looking at their welfare. You will be given the responsibility of counseling the patients or even counseling the volunteers who are there in the clinical trials. So all the clinical aspects of pharmacy are basically handled by the clinical pharmacy people.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So now it's time to move on to our admission expert, Dr. Dushendrapreet Kaur. Ma'am, over to you. Please continue with the fee eligibility, scholarship, and the infrastructure of the university.
Thank you, Ms. Ruby. Can you please give me screen sharing rights?
Yes, ma'am. Please give me a moment. Yes, ma'am.
I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
All right. Thank you so much. A very good afternoon to one and all. I'll be speaking about the rankings, campus life, infrastructure, last but not the least, the eligibility as well as fee structure. To start with, 13 students of lovely professional university represented India in Tokyo Olympics 2020, wherein they brought laurels by winning various medals, that is gold, silver, and bronze medals. Story doesn't end here. The university or the lovely professional university team lifts runner-up trophy at Khelo India University Games, wherein to highlight the university won 51 medals. The segregation is 17 gold, 15 silver, and 19 bronze. To start with the rankings, the university has been ranked 74th globally by Times Higher Education Impact Ranking 2022. And the university has also been ranked 36th among the top universities of India. This, in addition to this, the university also has been ranked 3rd in India by Atal ranking of the institutions on innovation achievement. And it also gives me the immense pleasure. The university has various NIRF ranking for the pharmacy as well. Now, I'm going to speak about the campus life as well as the kind of exposure which is offered to the student. The university proudly hosted 106th Indian Science Congress, which was inaugurated by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, wherein he gave the slogan Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Vigyan, Jai Anusandhan. This is a glimpse of our Nobel laureate for peace and the great spiritual leader of Tibet, Dalai Lama ji, who graced the convocation of LPU as a chief guest. The glimpse where you can see the president of two countries, one of Afghanistan and another of the president of India. They both graced the convocation at lovely professional university. Now, in addition to this, you can have a glimpse of the former Union Corporate Finance Minister, late Arun Jaitley ji, who inaugurated the startup school and highlighted and talked with the student the importance of the entrepreneurial ideas, the startup schools, and motivated to move ahead with the entrepreneurial bent of mind at the right age. This is a glimpse of world-renowned life coach Gaur Gopal Das, who visited the university and interacted with the students and inspired the students to lead a good life. It talks about how to lead a impressful life. Now, in addition to this, the university also welcomed the celebrities apart from the leaders, the glimpse of which you can visualize Shah Rukh Khan and Deepika Padukone. They visited the university to just give a start, a new career to the academic year, to these freshers. This face is not new to you. You all are aware of this. Former Indian team Captain Mahendra Singh Dhoni visited the university and interacted with the students. Now I'm going to speak about the university's infrastructure. University's infrastructure is one of the largest and the biggest infrastructure. To start with, the university has 2 amphitheaters which are used to organize nukkad nataks, some skits, events, and some competitions as well. The university has 3 auditoriums in total. The one which you are visualizing is the Shanti Devi Mittal Auditorium with a seating capacity of 2,500 people. This basically this big auditorium is used to host the events, the workshops, the events of national as well as the international repute. This is basically Unimall, the heart and soul of the lovely professional university, wherein you will be getting the all types of shops ranging from stationery to the sweets shop. And we do welcome your ideas, the entrepreneurial ideas, as do we do have the incubation centers. So this is a glimpse of the central library. The university has 9-storied central library with more than 20 lakh plus books. Various softwares are there. You can go ahead with research by we have databases as well. So you have idea into your mind, we have resources for you. In addition to this, just to bring out of the academic monotony, we do have bowling LA. So you spend your time over there to get little much orientation apart from the academic engagements. So this is for those who are health conscious. Nowadays, the time has come. We should all be the more health conscious. So we do have gym facility as well. So gym freaks, those who are, we are providing the facilities such as world-class gym, sauna bath is there, cardio is there, aerobics, specialized trainers are also there. So we care for your health. We do have uni hospital, which supports the sick and the diseased with all possible medical treatment. So you will be getting every single thing, be it your health, be it your to come out of the academic monotony, and in one premises, that is lovely professional university. Yeah, in addition to this, the another infrastructure which gives me immense pleasure to share, that we have one indoor stadium, that is a very big indoor stadium, that is Shanti Devi Mittal Indoor Stadium, with multifarious facilities, be it swimming pool. We have 3 swimming pools. Those are all weather swimming pools. Badminton courts are there, basketball courts are there, shooting range is there. So we are having all the facilities under one roof. This is the day view of the university. This is the night view of the university in general, and the residential facility in particular. Now, I'll take you to the website where I will be giving you the information regarding the fee structure, eligibility, as well as what scholarship will be there. So you can note down the link of, it's lpu.in. Just it's taking a little time. Yeah, another important point which I want to share is that the glimpse which you are watching on the website is none other than our Honorable Chancellor Sir Shri Ashok Mittal ji, who is now a member of Parliament in the upper house, that is Rajya Sabha. Now moving ahead with how you can go ahead with the information of the program, the eligibility, as well as the scholarship. You need to click on the admissions, go to regular programs. It's after 12th, regular programs. Just it's taking a little time to open. Yes, you need to select the discipline in which you are interested. I'm taking the example of Pharmaceutical Sciences. So I'm going to click on that. It's giving me the option of B Pharmacy, which is a 4 years program equivalent to 8 semesters. So by scrolling, I can show you, I'll be showing you the eligibility and the other related things. Eligibility is 60% in 10+2 and plus the university exam, that is LPU NEST. So NEST is the National Entrance and Scholarship Test, which serves 2 purposes, eligibility as well as the scholarship. The same test is there, but 2 purposes will be solved. So I have talked about the rankings. You can also have a look on what kind of courses you will be undergoing for altogether 4 years, what will be taught to you in the autumn term, what will be taught to you in the spring term. Though Monica ma'am has explained it very beautifully, still you can go through the things and you can search what another things will be taught to you. Then electives are there. I'm directly going ahead with the fee structure. Though fee structure per semester is mentioned, it is 1,20,000. We are acknowledging your hard efforts on the basis of your previous earned efforts as well as on the basis of your LPU NEST. So you need to check where you are landing on the basis of 10th score as well as on the basis of 12th score. So it's like better you could have performed, better would have been the scholarship. For example, a student landed up somewhere in the 2nd slab, because 3 slabs are there from 20% to 40%. If a student is getting 30% on the basis of previous one, don't lose hope. You have the option of appearing in LPU NEST, which you have to do it for the eligibility. You perform good, you perform the best, the possibility of getting the highest scholarship will definitely be there, right? So don't lose hope. Put your efforts in the university's exam. This exam which will be serving 2 purposes, eligibility as well as the scholarship. Now further moving, I want to show you the types of scholarship which we are having on the basis of previous qualification. As I have told you, on the basis of LPU NEST, which you will be registering or you might have registered. Then on the basis of NEET as well, the score is mentioned. Then on the basis of the others, we are promoting the other scholarships. Those are the special scholarships, maybe on the basis of innovation, startup and entrepreneurship. Then we do have the financial aid. But just to point out that we will be providing you one best scholarship, because slab is going to be there from 20% to 40%. So one best scholarship will be floated to you. Now, the process is there. You need to sign up. Then you need to book your LPU nest, because without university's exam, you cannot proceed. It will show you the exam slot. The exam will be remotely proctored exam. Then its result will be there. You need to select the program, and then its result will be there. And final, you will be moving ahead with the admission. Just one advice: don't wait for the last date. Book your exam. Give your full preparation. Go ahead with your full preparation. Appear in your test. Now, there are certain tabs which I want to highlight. Let's suppose you have certain query into your mind and you want to connect to our counselor through WhatsApp. This is the number. You can have a chat with our counselors, with our experts. If you want to schedule a call, click on this, share the information. We will be connecting you. Yes, I'll definitely advise you to go ahead with 360-degree view of the university. Definitely you will be enjoying every single view, be it your department which you are planning to join, be it the residential facility, be it the lush green gardens, every single thing. Yes, we are available on the live video counseling. The purpose is sometimes you cannot land up to the campus, you are at far-flung place, but still you have certain query. We will be providing you one-to-one interaction with our counselors, where you can have any doubt, you can get that doubt clear. So this is all about on this page: eligibility, the fee structure, the types of scholarship, and how to get back to us. Ruby ma'am, I'll take one more minute, because I want that they should know that we have been putting a lot of effort through the webinars. Suppose they have missed some webinar or they want to join for that webinar, I'll be showing that page as well. So students, I'll go to the admissions. On the left side, you can visualize it's LPU's Edu Fair. Those are the webinars. You need to click on that. This basically page is drafted so that you can register for the upcoming webinars, or you can view or you can review the things which you have missed. For example, you can see the upcoming webinars. These are the upcoming. You can register yourself or through link, or you can scan the QR code. The adjacent list of past webinars is also there. Suppose you have missed, you can check the YouTube recording and get the expertise from our resource persons. So do get back to us for any kind of a query. We are there to help you. So you can note down these details. You can visit lpu.in. For any specific query, you can drop us mail at admissions@lpu.co.in, and these are our helpline numbers. It's over from my side, Ruby ma'am. Thank you so much, and over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the detailed information about the admission process and other facilities at LPU. So attendees, good things come to those people who wait, but better thing comes to those who go out and get them. So don't sit back and relax. Grab the opportunity to take admission in your preferred course and get early decision benefits. So this was it. This was the session on Join the Bandwagon, develop new drugs and therapies, study pharmaceutical science at LPU. So experts, thank you so much. Your years of research, your depth of understanding the topic, and your ability to present the topic in such an interesting way produced one of the most wonderful afternoons for all the attendees. So on behalf of all the attendees of this webinar, I want to thank you for your insightful presentation. Hopefully the attendees found this webinar to be valuable and will be able to utilize this information provided in the webinar to take better decisions regarding admission. So once again, I'm obliged for your valuable time. Officially signing off from this webinar. Thank you so much.